Tonight, rev heads reeling from the supercars shock. Adelaide's street circuit is no more, and warnings this is just the beginning for other major events. Evil slips through a legal loophole. An HIV-positive pedophile, one of a dozen rushing to plead guilty on the last day of the big sentencing discount. Why a brutal terror attack in the French city of Nice could be part of an all-out Islamist war on France. And the power flicks the switch on a new club chief.
This is 10 News First Adelaide with Jennifer Keyte.
Good evening. First to the end of the road for the Adelaide 500. And it's not just bad for motorsport fans. The government says it's a sign of a cloud now hanging over all major events in SA. Alan Murrell joins us now. Alan, what does the future look like?
Well, Jen, the government wants more smaller events spread out across much more of the year, which it believes will deliver bigger bang for its bucks. COVID is being blamed once again. It had already forced the delay of the race until late next year. But given the declining returns for taxpayers' money, the government has decided to give it up altogether.
The Adelaide 500 has run its race.
This is a very tough day. It is a tough decision, but I'm quite sure it's the right decision.
COVID made a street circuit unviable next year, but the world had already turned. The supercar event struggled to find a replacement sponsor when Clipsal dropped out, while costs rose. Attendance, which peaked at 291,000 12 years ago, was just 204,000 this year.
Pre-COVID, this event was delivering an economic return. It had been declining, and I think it's also worth recognising that the traditional motorsport fan that had attended this event had been declining over 10 years.
Since 1999, more than 5 million people attended the race and associated concerts. Organisers had claimed the economic benefits rose from 39 to 45 million in the 3 years before 2020.
The fact that the Premier has tried to use COVID as an excuse is nothing short of a weak cop-out.
We weren't approached about the supercar race at all.
The state government promises to redirect a budget understood to be over 20 million to transform major events in South Australia.
We need to pivot from a small number of large events to a larger number of smaller events.
The last thing we would want to replace this fabulous event with is more piss-ups in the park. It's got to be substantial events, probably sporting events, but no doubt some big showcase events as well.
The future of next year's Tour Down Under also hangs in the balance. Teams have until next week to decide whether they can afford to come to South Australia in January. All events attracting over 100,000, like the Tour, Royal Show and Christmas Pageant, are in jeopardy.
They're all under a cloud, and look, I don't think that there are any mass events that are going to continue the way that they have in the past.
Although Supercars Australia says it would be delighted to return to Adelaide in future, the focus for car racing will be the Bend Motorsport Park.
The race has been a real showcase for South Australia, a dream for some, a nightmare for others who had to endure the traffic. Everybody has an opinion, as John O'Shea reports.
A shock move that has petrol heads all revved up.
A lot of people are fans about it, so I think it's pretty crap.
I'm not real happy about it at all.
I don't know whether bullshit's allowed.
Slamming the brakes on more than 3 decades of motor racing on the streets of Adelaide.
That event was so much more than just a car race. You know, the whole city got behind it. Anyone who went there has always talked about how good it was.
It's the single biggest race meeting that we have for the year. We always talk about Bathurst, but from an attendee point of view, this is number one.
With the race scrapped, local star Nick Percat went full throttle on those responsible. His teammate and fellow South Australian Todd Hazelwood revealing fears Adelaide will be left in the slow lane.
For us to now lose that is one part crazy and the other part, really disappointed.
It'll cut deep in the city's East End, an area already hit hard in recent years.
People are willing to invest money in order to build infrastructure to support events like this, and to turn our back on them, I feel, is short-sighted at this moment.
But not everyone's upset the Adelaide 500 has run its course. The 4-day event takes months to set up and provides weeks of traffic headaches east of the city.
And actually, I'm kind of glad because it was a It was a bit of a pain getting around it in the morning with the school drops.
Yeah, it caused a lot of build-up with traffic. They've got the Tail and Bend Motorsports Park, which is perfect for the event.
While the owners of the band say they're ready to fill the void, the Adelaide 500 could prove irreplaceable.
Out of all the events that we do in the Supercars program, there's nothing else that comes close to it.
Yeah, I think they'll regret it.
John O'Shea for 10 News First.
The state government and the council had been considering a Formula E electric car race around the city. Not sure that that fits with the claims that a street circuit is unviable. Jen?
OK, thank you very much, Alan. An HIV-positive pedophile who said he wanted to infect children will be eligible for a generous sentencing discount after jumping in to plead guilty to exploitation charges on the last day before the loopholes closed. And he wasn't the only one who rushed to court today.
At the 11th hour before legislative change, Jad Brooker confessed to 7 of 44 child exploitation charges.
I am absolutely disgusted, as I think most other people will be, that Mr Brooker will be available to get up to a 30% discount.
On Monday, that discount drops to just 15%. The sex predator wasn't due in court until January, but had the matter called on early. Today, he admitted to possessing and distributing child exploitation material between August last year and this year. 4 of 7 charges were aggravated, meaning it involved children under the age of 14. Even more horrifying, police say the 38-year-old, who's HIV positive, recorded himself saying he wants to infect children with the virus.
Brooker wasn't the only one who rushed to confess today. A special court sitting had to be held for a dozen cases added at the last minute.
It just shows how ridiculous it was to allow such a long time for people to still use these generous sentencing discounts.
The government said in a statement the discount for an early guilty plea is not automatic. It would expect the court to consider all factors when determining the level of discount that would apply in individual matters. Brooker's due back in court in April. Caroline O'Day for 10 News First.
And an online predator who impregnated a teenage girl in state care has had his discounted sentence increased. The DPP took the case to the Court of Criminal Appeal. Matthew McIntyre's sentencing discount meant he could have been granted parole in less than 2 years. He now won't be eligible for at least 3.5 years or as many as 5. His offending was exposed when a youth worker discovered disturbing text messages between him and the girl. The appeals court told he has little insight into just how bad his offending was, creating a risk he'd do something similar again. French President Emmanuel Macron has put his country on the highest state of alert after 3 people were murdered in a church in Nice by an Islamist extremist. The 21-year-old from Tunisia yelled Allah Akbar as he stabbed his victims, beheading one woman. He was shot by police and remains in a critical condition.
Not only are they an attack on the individuals and their families, but they are an attack on liberty.
On the same day, an armed suspected extremist was shot dead in another French city, and a French consulate guard was killed in Saudi Arabia. Anti-French sentiment has been building in the Islamic world over the country's support for a teacher killed after showing students a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad. South Australian truck drivers can take advantage of a new heavy vehicle simulator, teaching them to navigate some of the state's most risky roads before hitting them for real. And that includes the dangerous and deadly freeway downtrack.
An intersection which has too often been the scene of carnage and heartache. 45 people seriously hurt and 3 killed in just the past 6 years, thanks to trucks losing their brakes on the freeway descent.
People coming into this state don't understand just how bad it is.
Now a simulator's been developed to help some of the 660,000 truckies who navigate the risky route every year.
It's very accurate. It's like driving a real truck. You've got all the vibrations and everything else.
The $500,000 virtual reality ride can recreate hundreds of real-life scenarios.
Until you've experienced what can go wrong, you probably think that wouldn't happen.
Nearly 50% of all heavy vehicles travelling the freeway come from across the border. The government is considering whether the machine should be used as a mandatory test for interstate drivers.
Interstate drivers often are caught out by it if they've not been warned and trained about it in advance.
It could also be a trial run for improving safety on other dangerous roads across the nation.
I know that if the simulation goes well, and I'm sure it will, that I'm sure that there'll be other opportunities for this kind of technology to be continued to be rolled out in other parts of Australia.
While not mandatory yet, this simulator could become compulsory for disqualifying drivers to prove they've got the skills to get back on the road.
Having to spend time in the simulator could be part of their penalty repayment.
This simulator will initially be made available through the Drivers Association. Jace Kemp for 10 News First.
A smoke alarm has saved a southern suburbs man who woke to his bedroom engulfed in flames. A lithium bike battery had exploded under his bed just after 4 this morning. Alerted by the alarm, the resident managed to escape but still lost everything he owned in the fire.
He woke up and it was already fully alight, and yeah, he closed the door and come outside. We couldn't even see him through the window or anything. It was all black.
The house itself was saved by fire crews, with the damage bill estimated to be about $60,000. A 91-year-old woman's driver's licence is being reviewed after she clipped a car and ploughed into Dan Murphy's on the parade at 10 this morning. Police say she accidentally drove forward twice, smashing windows and causing up to $80,000 damage. She wasn't injured. And now here's Stephen previewing tonight's sport.
Thank you, Jem. We'll have more from SA's supercar drivers who have slammed the decision to cancel the Adelaide 500. Also tonight, Port Adelaide unveils its new chief executive. Jodie Oddie has the details from Alberton.
Well, David Koch has called it the most important appointment at any football club. And if that's the case, then Matthew Richardson is about to play a crucial role here at the Power. After an extensive external search, they finally settled on one of their own.
Hand on heart, I didn't want to be accused of making the easy decision. And in fact, probably I was the biggest critic of appointing Matthew Richardson.
There's this powerful force that sits around Port Adelaide, and I think after our 150th year showed that under extraordinary circumstances. You look at what happened with our membership and merchandise was extraordinary. Our partners connected. There is a powerful force if you can actually unite it.
Richardson actually started in marketing at the Port Adelaide Magpies some 20 years ago. He's been in footy administration, he knows the drill, and he's landed his biggest role to date. He takes over from Keyte Thomas, who stepped down after 9 years, leaving a fantastic legacy.
Thanks, Jodie. Also tonight, the Crows are well compensated by the AFL as Rory Atkins becomes a son.
Thanks, Stephen. Still ahead in 10 News First. The sweeping findings of the Bushfire Royal Commission. But next, battleground Florida, where US voters are being urged to choose between the economy and their health.
Get ready for the living room's easiest reno ever.
Barry, it's fantastic.
It's just small tweaks that are changing the dynamic of this whole space.
I don't know where to look first.
That is my favourite renovation. I loved it.
And Dr. Chris discovers the secret healing power of horses.
Is it like a drug that can actually have a tangible effect on our body? That is incredible.
While Miguel whips up the best brownies ever.
Here we are in the kitchen.
With a surprising secret ingredient.
Whoa. So yum.
Oh!
I love it.
The Living Room, 7:30 tonight on 10.
At Harvey Norman, get a PC with Windows 10 for a more powerful you. This 14-inch HP laptop is great value, just $348. Get the speed you need with this Acer Aspire 5 laptop, powered by Intel Core i3 processor, $596. For boundary-breaking performance, this HP laptop with Intel Core i5 processor and huge storage, only $1,299. Plus, get 60 months interest-free with bonus gift cards up to $500. Now, at Harvey Norman.
Go!
Bone mass peaks in our 30s. You need enough vitamin D to maintain bone strength. Look after your bones with new Austerlin Bone Strength, with the added benefit of magnesium, iron or collagen support.
Smiths, you know you love them. Introducing new Duos, 2 great flavours in 1 pack. Hungry Jack's free limited edition glasses. Get a free Hungry Jack's glass with any large meal. Collect all 5 colours at Hungry Jack's.
Let's see what it's got. Comfort, bucket loads.
It's tough, really tough. But smart.
Brand new Mazda BT50, the complete package.
Get your air conditioning right the first time with First Choice. First Choice install air conditioning in new and existing homes across Adelaide. To book an obligation-free quote, call First Choice Air Conditioning today.
They're the most spectacular dishes ever created in the MasterChef kitchen. Now, get ready.
We've got something you've never seen before.
For the next MasterChef masterpiece.
Shall we, Sean? Let's do it.
Oh my God. No way. That is so cool. What is under it? It's a snow globe.
Think you can make that?
No.
This masterpiece will decide who goes into finals week.
I'm only 10 and I'm cooking a dessert from a professional chef.
With everything on the line, which two will go home?
We have a decision to make. It's tough today, it really is.
The Snow Globe Challenge on 10.
It continues 7:30 Sunday. The People's Choice Community Lottery gives 100% of proceeds back to participating groups. Search Community Lottery and start raising funds today. Special thanks to our platinum partners, CMI Toyota and Harvey Norman. Here are some of today's weather photos from across South Australia. If you'd like to share your own, you can join our Adelaide Weather Watchers group on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram at 10 News First ADL. Or you can tag me using the hashtag #SAWithKate.
A two-time Olympian says a toxic culture of disorganisation and bullying is strangling Australia's top women's hockey team. Nicole Arnold is calling for an independent review of the side to expose problems she claims date back at least 10 years. Lockie Reid has this exclusive report.
Once Australia's Golden Girls and pride of a nation.
They are the greatest.
But Nicole Arnold says a decade of poor culture has damaged the hockey roos.
I know these young women, I know they want to work hard, I know they want to be challenged, I know they want a comprehensive program to prepare them as thoroughly as possible, and they're not getting that at the moment.
Nicole Arnold has done it for the Aussies. Nicole claims problems inside the Hockey Roos program stem back at least 10 years and span over 3 Olympic Games. It's seen a high turnover in coaching staff. The tenure of Frank Murray ended after Commonwealth gold in Delhi, while his replacement, Adam Commons, had his contract terminated. Nicole thought she could help change things at the top as part of a revamped coaching panel, but her time as an assistant didn't last long.
Yeah, a lack of clear direction, a lack of long-term and short-term planning. It was chaotic, it was disorganised. The head coach would simply forget to attend really important meetings, and that sent messages to athletes that there was a lack of care and respect.
Her frustration, penned in a letter, Nicole says wasn't initially passed on to the Hockey Australia board. When it did finally get into the right hands, she feels it fell on deaf ears. We are less than 1 year away from a possible Olympics campaign, and Nicole isn't the only one concerned about the current state of the Hockeyroos program. I have spoken to several other former players who have similar frustrations.
Over a number of years, I'm aware of bullying allegations that were handled poorly within the organisation.
And now Adelaide believes some players have decided being a Hockeyroos is not worth the emotional toll.
It shouldn't be the job of the athlete to instigate change and to draw attention to inadequacies in the performance of the program.
In a statement, Hockey Australia said it ordered an independent review to address issues identified during the Rio Olympics and has brought in new initiatives to support the mental and physical well-being of its current players. Lockie Reid for 10 News First.
New Zealand has released the results of its 2 referendum questions. The country has convincingly voted yes to allow voluntary euthanasia, capping off a 20-year battle by several small parties. The proposed legalisation of marijuana has narrowly failed, but this may be overturned once special and postal votes are counted. It will be another year before euthanasia becomes legal for those with a terminal illness with less than 6 months to live. The United States has just reported a record 83,000 new coronavirus infections, its worst day of the pandemic so far. And the signs continue to point to more bad news ahead as Donald Trump and Joe Biden make their closing election pitches with radically different approaches. National Affairs editor Hugh Riminton reports from the US.
Donald Trump still packs them in. His hopes boosted today by figures showing the US economy bounced back 7.4% in the last 3 months as businesses shrugged off COVID restrictions.
This explosive economic growth is 4 times greater than what the experts expected.
But it has come at the cost of rising infections.
Donald Trump has waved the white flag, abandoned our families and surrendered to the virus.
Both leaders campaigned in Florida. There is no state more vital.
If Florida goes blue, it's over.
The president holding the stage so long he started losing his audience. But it was the First Lady who injected the note of empathy her husband so often misses.
My husband's administration is focused on the future, the health and safety of the American people.
In fact, he seems focused on dismissing the virus altogether.
If I can get better, anybody can get better, and I got better fast.
Nearly 230,000 Americans did not get better, a number rising by the hour. 4 out of 5 of the worst days on record for new infection rates here in the United States have happened in the past week. Death rates are running back at above 1,000 a day, and there remains a strong correlation between new infections and strong support for Donald Trump. Taking their lead from the president, they disdain masks, social distancing, or any restrictions on business.
Joe Biden's plan is to deliver punishing lockdowns. He's going to lock you down.
Biden says he won't, but he will act in other ways.
If we just wore masks, over the next few months we could save 100,000 projected deaths.
Even more than 4 years ago, the mood is ugly. Biden's pitch boiling down to a single sentence.
This country can't afford 4 more years of Trump.
Hugh Riminton for 10 News First, Washington.
And ahead in 10 News First, royal baby fever over a confidential matter delaying Meghan Markle's court battle. And surf's up, but only for the brave, as Mother Nature shows off her awesome power.
Well, it was an overcast and cool day for Adelaide with a few light showers about early this morning. After dipping to a low of 13, the city reached a top of 19 degrees. Right now it's 17 and winds are blowing in a southwesterly direction. Around the suburbs today it was dry in Glenelg with moderate to fresh southerly winds making it feel a lot cooler than what it actually was. A top of 18 degrees, a bit of drizzle about Mount Barker where it reached just 13. Across the state, dry in Ceduna, 19 degrees. Roxby Downs climbed to 22. East of the Spencer Gulf, Port Pirie saw a few drops before recording a top of 19. Further south, it was a windy day at Port Lincoln, with gusts up to 50 kilometres per hour recorded this morning. A spring soaking in the Barossa Valley, picking up 8.6 millimetres of rain. Mount Gambier hit a top of 18. What's in store for the weekend? I'll have all your weather details coming up soon.
This Saturday, the carnival begins.
And they're racing.
4 unmissable days of world-class action.
The atmosphere is electric.
He's toughing it out, charging.
Everybody has a ticket.
They're on top of the world.
The Melbourne Cup Carnival starts Saturday, live on 10.
Maltesers truffles. Too good to give.
Fetch movies.
Here we go.
Fetch shows. Fetch the things you love to watch. Fetch them all on one simple menu. All your entertainment. Easy. Fetch.
At Terry White Chemmart, we're adding real value every day with our own range of high-quality products, including pharmacy-only medicines, to give your family the best possible care at our lowest everyday prices. Real value every day at Terry White Chemmart.
Hungry Jack's free limited edition glasses. Get a free Hungry Jack's glass with any large meal. Collect all 5 colours at Hungry Jack's.
Hey Google, where's my nearest Dreamland bedding store?
Here are the listings for the new...
With 6 stores across SA, all locally owned and operated, you'll find the right bed at the right price with a huge range of Australian-made mattresses with savings up to 50% off.
So just go to Dreamland.
Dreamland.
It's time to rediscover the hills, extend your horizon and celebrate the reawakening of life at Mount Lofty House. Enjoy 2 nights of luxury for the price of 1. Book now at mountloftyhouse.com.au.
I can't wait to just let him know you're a done deal.
I have to hurt someone. I just don't know what I'm going to do.
The grand finale starts Wednesday.
At least 6 people have been killed and more than 2 million left without power after former Hurricane Zeta tore a path of destruction along America's Gulf Coast. Zeta made landfall as a Category 2 hurricane in Louisiana, but was soon downgraded to a tropical storm. The National Hurricane Centre is warning residents in North Carolina and Virginia to remain on alert as remnants of the storm pass through. Former UK opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn has been suspended by his own party following the release of an alarming independent report. It found serious failings in how the Labor Party dealt with anti-Semitism in its ranks, a suggestion Corbyn rebuked, saying the findings were overstated. It wasn't a sentiment shared by his successor, however, who labelled the findings a day of shame for the party.
The report's conclusions are clear and stark. They leave no room for equivocation.
Corbyn has responded, saying he will contest his suspension and supports a zero-tolerance policy towards all forms of racism. Joe Biden is using the final days of his presidential campaign to swoop into several Midwestern states Hillary Clinton took for granted in 2016. In fact, the former vice president is so confident he's entering Trump territory.
In rural Iowa along the Mississippi, this should be Trump land. But lately in the town of Clinton, they're having some regrets.
Sad to say, this is the first time I've never had respect for a president.
Many who voted for Donald Trump in 2016 won't be doing so again.
To me, this Trump and his whole family, you could care less about what's going on in this neighborhood, you know what I'm saying?
A lot of it has to do with the pandemic. Record outbreaks are turning life upside down, causing white voters without college degrees to turn away from Trump. Not Roger Phelps, though, a policeman who lives up the street.
I've never questioned my support. Now, I do cringe once in a while when I see a tweet, especially in the beginning, but I think he's a lot like the average person. He says what he thinks.
Last election, Donald Trump won Iowa by 10 points. Today, the polls are neck and neck. Joe Biden is so confident he has a chance of flipping the state that he'll be campaigning here tomorrow.
He's more than welcome to come here and try, but I think Iowa's going to be red.
Across the border lies another crucial battle. Last election, Donald Trump tore down Hillary Clinton's blue wall, turning Wisconsin and Michigan red while almost taking Minnesota. But now Joe Biden holds healthy leads in all three states.
Hello, Michigan. This was the scene of a great victory.
Trump will also be returning tomorrow as the battle lines become clearer by the day. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, Iowa.
The Duchess of Sussex has won an appeal to delay her trial against the Mail on Sunday, who she is pursuing for breach of privacy. The newspaper published extracts of a letter to her estranged father, Thomas Markle, in the lead-up to the royal wedding. Meghan was granted the year-long adjournment. The reasons? Confidential. The trial is now likely to commence next September, with both Meghan and her father expected to give evidence. Extreme surfers have taken on 20-metre waves at a beach in northern Portugal. It's the first big swell of the season in the region, sparked by a storm coming from the Atlantic, which pushed huge walls of water towards the coast. The event attracted hundreds of spectators from across Europe who packed the shoreline and hills around the beach to watch the action unfold. Well, all the day's finance news is next. And chalk drawings at the centre of a bizarre neighbourhood dispute.
Under here, we've got something you've never seen before.
Oh my God, no way.
This MasterChef masterpiece will decide who goes into finals week. The Snow Globe Challenge, 7:30 Sunday.
The new iPhone 12 Pro with 5G is here. Order now on the network with 5G coverage in more places.
Lost your job and looking for work? At Work Australia help people with disability find the right job. We'll help you with your employment goals, understand the local job market, prepare your CV, ace the interview, and secure the right job. We've helped thousands of people with mental health conditions, physical and learning disability to find work. We're ready to help you, and employers are still hiring. Register today. At Work Australia, we're at work for you.
The stylish Haval H2, a globally engineered, European-designed and feature-packed SUV. From just $22,990 drive away. Haval H2 Auto. New car thinking.
Whole grains, aren't they great? Grown naturally, in fields, on farms, by brilliant Aussie farmers who know every bit of every whole grain is packed with goodness. That's why we put every single bit of these whole grains into our snacks, making it not only a snack you can feel good about, but one that makes you go, Brainwaves, a whole lot of whole grains in every bite.
One look at South Australia's CTP choices shows that SGIC wears the state colours on their sleeve. The wonders of data, eh? Choose SGIC, helping South Australians since 1972.
New Rainbow Bursties make Hungry Jack's frozen drinks more fun with bursting bubbles of triple bursty flavour sensation. Or add Rainbow Bursties to new bubblegum frozens. Get more flavour and fun with Rainbow Bursties, only at Hungry Jack's.
Ooh, bold.
Bold.
Smooth? Smooth.
We've reinvented the way we roast our beans for the perfect blend of bold and smooth. Nescafe Blend 43.
Shop online at Amart Furniture for these amazing online exclusives. Like this functional corner desk, only $149. Or this modern office chair, only $169. Visit amart.com.au.
It's the living room's easiest reno ever. I don't know where to look first. The living room, 7:30 tonight.
Get into any Drake supermarket and knock your socks off. Simply buy a specially marked product in a $20 shop and get a free pair of socks. There's 17 to collect. Don't miss out while socks last. Drake Supermarkets. Ingredients for every day.
Here are tomorrow's speed camera locations across Adelaide. And a reminder that you can catch up on any of tonight's stories by searching for 10 News First Adelaide on Facebook or join the conversation on Twitter at 10 News First ADL.
Good evening, Charlotte Goodlett with your finance news. A few years ago, 7-Eleven landed itself in hot water after a report found some franchisees had deliberately falsified records to underpay workers. Since then, they've been working with the Fair Work Ombudsman to rectify that, which today revealed that between September 2015 and February this year, operators paid back more than $173 million in wages, interest and superannuation to more than 4,000 current and former employees. The Ombudsman has also brought 11 litigations against franchisees, which has resulted in $1.8 million in penalties. The company's also spent about $10 million improving technology like fingerprint scanning to help staff log in and log out. Meanwhile, according to Seek, ads in the last fortnight are at 90% of pre-COVID levels. In fact, Queensland's joined South Australia, WA, Tasmania and the NT, who all have more job ads than before the pandemic. Victoria still lags in comparison at around 76%, but still, that's 20 points higher than it was 4 weeks ago. Let's check out what the markets did today now. AMP shares jumped more than 20% after confirming it's received a takeover bid from a US private equity firm. Viva Energy and Ampol were both higher following BP's announcement it was shutting its WA refinery. As for the Aussie dollar, it's trading higher against the majors, sitting around that 70.5 US cents mark.
This is Adelaide's 10 News First. Tonight's headlines. Anger from fans and drivers over the scrapping of Adelaide's Supercars event. But the Premier says even without the pandemic, it was no longer viable. An HIV-positive pedophile manages to make himself eligible for a sentencing discount by pleading guilty ahead of Monday's law change. And a 91-year-old woman's licence under review after a damaging wrong turn on the parade. Powers to declare a national state of emergency are among the key recommendations handed down by the Bushfire Royal Commission. It's spent 8 months dissecting Australia's devastating summer fires, which claimed 33 lives and burnt through 24 million hectares.
Australia's Black Summer was unprecedented. But the Royal Commission says that's not a reason to be unprepared, rolling out 80 recommendations.
Inside is a report and a list of appendices as well.
To ensure it never happens again.
An important day in the next phase of our nation's healing.
And not just in preventing bushfires, but coordinating all natural disasters. The Royal Commission recommends new laws be introduced, allowing the Commonwealth to declare a national state of emergency and take action to assist the states and territories, even if they haven't asked.
This is not about the federal government coming in and taking over, fighting fires or doing swift river rescues. The states are the best ones to do that. They are the professionals on the ground.
Among the key recommendations, a national aerial firefighting fleet.
Because most are currently leased from other countries around the world.
Plus, improved emergency warning apps, better land management, streamlined fundraising efforts, and consistent danger ratings and air quality advice. Health experts told the Royal Commission smoke inhalation contributed to many deaths. The report says that as the climate changes, natural disasters are becoming more complex and unpredictable, with significant consequences, and the government has to keep up.
We still have a government that has many parts of it doesn't even recognise the science of climate change and is certainly not taking action to try to keep Australians safe from climate change.
The report, which is a culmination of 1,700 submissions and 8 months of public hearings, was commissioned by the Prime Minister.
And the Prime Minister was literally not even in the country at the height of last year's bushfires.
Scott Morrison was in Canberra today, unlike during the bushfires when he was holidaying in Hawaii, but he distanced himself from the bushfire response.
This is about people, not politics.
Peter Van Onselen for 10 News First.
Locals have rallied behind a Melbourne woman who spent lockdown creating colourful chalk art, only to be reported to her local council by a neighbourhood Scrooge. But her story has a twist, because the council had already noticed her drawings and wants to see more of them.
It all started because of COVID. Lockdown life was in need of a little colour, something Fiona Cracknell has in spades.
It's just to make people smile on their 1 hour of freedom day while they go for their walks.
With a bucket load of chalk and time to spare,
Do you want me to get some colours out for you?
one drawing turned into 2 and spiralled from there.
I think it's just brightened up the neighbourhood. It's actually brought people together.
Mum to a 3-year-old, Fiona chose to focus on cartoon figures.
We've made so many new friends with people walking past saying hello.
Here in Gladstone Park, Fiona's place quickly turned into a community hub.
And they toot and wave while I've got my ass up in there while I'm drawing.
But every good story needs a villain. This one left an anonymous letter in the mail.
They call me pretentious, but I won't say the other words.
Complaining to the council, calling it vandalism and asking who will be sued if someone slips on the chalk.
I was actually heartbroken. I burst into tears. I rang up my husband and my neighbours.
I think it's quite nasty, to be honest.
She posted about it on her Facebook page, and as good neighbourhoods do, they rallied around.
I've seen what they've been doing on Facebook. It's appalling. You do a really good job, my darling, all right?
And that council that received the complaint, it wants to commission Fiona for Christmas art.
I will keep going. I'm enjoying it, so it's too much fun to stop.
Nick Etchells for 10 News First.
They look great. Well, now Stephen's back with Friday Sport, and they're not a happy team at Hawthorn.
No, they're not, Jen. 3-time premiership player Isaac Smith has quit and gone to the Cats. We'll hear why next. Also, a Melbourne Cup fancy drifts in the betting. We head to Flemington to preview Derby Day. And a sad day for motorsport, with the Adelaide 500 dumped from the calendar.
Tommy has busted out an interview with rapper Busta Rhymes next.
It's the living room's easiest reno ever.
It's just small tweaks that are changing the dynamic of this whole space.
I don't know where to look first.
And Miguel whips up his yummiest brownies yet with a surprising secret ingredient. The Living Room, 7:30 tonight.
The art of the charcuterie board. Mouth-watering salami, irresistible prosciutto, and there it is, a charcuterie board piled high with flavour.
Charcuterie?
Hans.
It's actually Hans.
Taking Inner Health probiotics daily stimulates your body's natural health responses.
Well done. She's firing on all cylinders.
When a healthy gut talks, your body responds.
Have you had your Inner Health today?
Inner Health Plus, double strength.
Find us on the shelf.
Ooh, bold.
Bold.
Smooth. Smooth.
We've reinvented the way we roast our beans for the perfect blend of bold and smooth. Nescafe Blend 43.
Pay less every day at The Good Guys. Get this Acer 2-in-1 laptop for only $899. This Hisense 75-inch TV only $1995. This Huawei phone only $297. And these new Fitbits only $397 each. Pay less every day only at The Good Guys.
Termites and borers are a problem in Australia, so it's good news that frames made with the inner strength of True Core steel are 100% termite and borer proof. To find builders using True Core steel, visit truecore.com.au.
Morning, Keith. Did you know if you buy new eligible AAMI home and car insurance together, you can save 20% off the second policy until November 29?
Sounds great. But who is that? I don't know. But he talks to me all the time.
It's our little secret, Keith.
Who does?
Yep. Double up and save, Keith. Does your insurance offer this? AAMI does.
When frequent heartburn kept waking me up at night, enough was enough. So I tried Nexium 24-hour.
Unlike antacids that often require multiple doses per day, Nexium 24-hour is better. Just one tablet a day can provide 24-hour protection. Live life less interrupted.
At Drake Supermarkets, we've got all the ingredients for the pet days and the wet days, the roast days and the smashed avo on toast days. Ingredients for the tradie days and the lady days, the Mondays, the run days, and the let's have some fun days. We've got all the ingredients for you, no matter what the day. Drake Supermarkets.
Ingredients for every day.
You gotta love free pizza, and all you gotta do to get it is download the Domino's app and make a delivery order. A free large pizza with your next delivery order. Happy days. Only at Domino's. Bring it in.
It all begins with AAMI Victoria Derby Day.
He's charging!
Everybody has a ticket to the Melbourne Cup Carnival, live on 10.
Good evening. Isaac Smith has stunned Hawthorn by opting to leave the club and head to arch rivals Geelong. Rob Waters joins us. Rob, this won't improve relations between the two clubs, who share one of footy's great rivalries.
Yes, Stephen, this will be a bitter pill for Hawthorn fans and the club to swallow, and it will absolutely delight Geelong, because Isaac Smith, even into his 30s, remains a very, very good player. This was a pragmatic call from Isaac Smith. He clearly doesn't see Hawthorn being in the premiership window over the next couple of years, but Geelong very much will be, particularly with Jeremy Cameron and Sean Higgins also on their way down to Sleepy Hollow. Now, he knocked back a 2-year deal from the Hawks. He knocked back 3 years at Melbourne, and he's accepted a 2-year deal to go to Geelong. And he says very much this was all about his head in the end, overruling his heart.
To say I wasn't a Geelong fan is probably a little bit under what I wasn't. Certainly coming up against him, there was a real dislike between the playing groups and the clubs, but the other thing was there was a hell of a lot of respect.
Also a big win for Geelong and the surrounding region. So many players now are wanting to shift down there because of the lifestyle that it does afford. Now, there was plenty of happening on the opening day of free agency. The paperwork to get Joe Danaher from Essendon to Brisbane has been lodged. The Bombers are expected to match that, so that will end up being in a trade. Zach Williams has moved from the GWS to Carlton, has been lodged, as has Aiden Cors to North Melbourne, and Rory Atkins has moved from Adelaide to the Gold Coast Suns. All those three deals are expected to go through in free agency. The Giants have confirmed their interest in unwanted full forward from the Dockers in Jesse Hogan, while three Richmond players have re-signed and recommitted to the clubs. They've signed to the Tigers. They've signed 2-year deals. They are Nathan Broad, Marlon Pickett, and also Jake Arts. Plenty more to come, Stephen.
Thanks to Rob Waters. Stewards have been forced to investigate a bizarre betting drift involving the Danny O'Brien-trained Melbourne Cup fancy Russian Camelot. But the Star Stallion has been given the all clear, and the trainer is adamant the horse is fit to fire, despite its price briefly touching 100 to 1 early this morning.
From next big thing to friendless in the betting market. After placing in the Cox Plate, Russian Camelot's betting quote has blown out the gate, causing stewards to investigate if the horse is lame. But the reigning Cup King, who trains the stallion, can't explain the fuss or the generous odds on offer.
No, the horse is absolutely super. He's down on 13th Beach this morning. He couldn't be brighter. We're really pleased with him. You know, he came out of the Cox Plate in great order. We think he's improving just where we would hope to have him heading towards the Cup on Tuesday.
Once again, O'Brien will have a big stake and a big say in the race with 4 starters on Tuesday. One of those will be last year's winner, Vow and Declare.
Vow and Declare kicks! Vow and Declare's won it!
Potentially put blinkers on him, just to, he's not a horse that's ever going to overdo it in the run, but it just might get that little spark back into him.
Winning form is good form in pretty much every sport, and the sport of kings is no different for Sir Dragonet.
And joins a century of legends, Sir Dragonet for Bossy.
But the Cox Plate Melbourne Cup double is rare air. Makybe Diva the last to pull it off.
It was very strong work to the eye, and he's pulled up really well, so couldn't be happier at this time.
The Lloyd Williams-owned Master of Reality was a nose away from claiming the Cup last year in those familiar blue and white silks. Ben Mallam is liking what he feels this time around.
Just learn a little bit about the horse and about their little quirks and stuff like that, so it can only help you race day.
Nick Butler for 10 News First.
And the Flemington Carnival starts tomorrow with Derby Day, 4 Group 1s plus the final chance for Melbourne Cup hopefuls. Here's 10's racing expert Michael Felgate.
Thanks, Quarters. Yes, the Melbourne Cup Carnival has arrived. Just one more sleep and we all kick off here at fabulous Flemington. You'll get to see all the action live on Network 10 from 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Derby Day, the greatest day of racing in Australia. 4 Group 1s. Every race is a group race, and I cannot wait. The feature, the Amy Victoria Derby, the 167th running. It's a very open field. The favourite Young Vert has only had 2 starts, trained by Danny O'Brien. No horse in recent history has won a Derby at just its 3rd start. It'll be hard to beat, but I like a horse called Hit the Shot, trained by Matt Kamani, who is the brother of Francesca, who you will see on our coverage. Have a look at it getting home last start in the yellow colours, finishing 3rd at Caulfield. He'll love the extra distance, 2,500 metres. I think he will be the horse to beat. Cherry Tortoni, trained by Patrick Payne, will also be hard to beat. He won very well last week at Moonee Valley. The horse that ran 3rd is trained by Dennis Pagan in that race. He could win a Derby as a horse trainer tomorrow. It's a remarkable story. Johnny Get Angry is the horse that Dennis Pagan is training, the premiership winning coach, tomorrow. It is a huge day. We are looking forward to it. My best bet on the program is a mare called Mystic Journey. She goes around in the Tab Empire Rose, the pride of Tasmania. Quarters, fingers crossed. Plenty of winners, plenty of fun. Tune in tomorrow from 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. Looking forward to working with you and the entire team for the first day of the Melbourne Cup Carnival.
See you tomorrow. Australian coach Justin Langer has backed the out-of-form white ball captain Aaron Finch. Finch has been struggling in the IPL, but Langer's support hasn't wavered.
The sight of Australian captain Aaron Finch on the sidelines in the IPL, having been dropped for Josh Philippi, would normally be cause for alarm. But after a long chat with Finch last night, the coach has no concerns.
I'm not concerned about Aaron Finch's form. No, when he comes home, we know what a brilliant leader he's developing into for Australia. He's one of our best players in the world.
Langer is more worried about the mental toll of endless COVID hubs on his senior players, and fans should be prepared for players to be rested during the summer. The Black Lives Matter movement is a more delicate issue after the Australian team were criticised for not taking a knee in England. Langer is hoping to seek counsel from former AFL star Adam Goodes and other Indigenous leaders.
It's a very important issue in our society at the moment, and we want to make sure we do it and represent it with great respect and dignity.
One thing Langer isn't concerned about is the mounting hype around prodigy Cameron Green after he was dismissed cheaply today.
How does he handle it? He watches the ball as closely as he is now. He stays fit and healthy, and he gets on with his job. And that's the hardest part, actually, of playing international cricket, is eliminating the distractions.
Despite Green's addition to the white ball squads, Langer insists the upcoming Test side announcement won't feature many changes, and he's confident they can exact revenge on India.
Yes, I reckon we've got the team to beat India this time.
Alex Malcolm for 10 News First.
Victorian quick Will Sutherland has starred with 3 wickets on the opening day of the Sheffield Shield clash in Adelaide. After debutant Mitch Perry claimed his first Shield scalp, Sutherland knocked over in-form South Australian Travis Head cheaply.
Oh, that one beats the edge of the bat. Must have got a nick on it too. Travis Head, the captain.
The Redbacks were bowled out for 200 late in the day. Elsewhere, as we just saw, Cameron Green could not keep his red-hot form going against Tasmania, but Shaun Marsh posted yet another century to rescue WA. Supercars driver Nick Percat has blasted the decision to axe the Adelaide 500. The local boy, who grew up to win the race in 2016, had some choice words for the South Australian government on Twitter last night. He chose his words a little more carefully today.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy to shut down an event that brings so much revenue to the state, and it has been going for decades now. So it's a sad day for motorsport in South Australia.
Percat's teammate at Brad Jones Racing, Todd Hazelwood, described the move as a stab in the back. It seems car racing without drivers is as silly in reality as it sounds. RoboRace unveiled its artificial intelligence vehicles, and it appears they have some work to do.
Oh no, and the start has not gone to plan.
Our play of the day should go to the pit crews, staying up all night doing the repairs, but instead we'll give it to the real drivers who surely after this will never be out of a job again. Never, never, Jen, will I ever get in a driverless car.
Automation.
No thanks.
No thanks. Thank you, Stephen. Well, Jade's back after the break with all the weather details. Queensland and WA are softening their borders. Who's in, who's out? Next.
Saturday, it's a must-win for our Wallabies to keep the Bledisloe Cup alive. Wow. And this time, it's in our backyard.
And now, Corabetti!
The third Bledisloe blockbuster, live Saturday on 10.
Hyaluronic acid. There's a reason dermatologists love it.
L'Oréal Paris introduces a powerful serum, Revitalive Filler Hyaluronic Acid Serum. Our highest concentration of hyaluronic acid deeply hydrates, smooths the skin surface and replumps lines from within. In 6 weeks, wrinkles are visibly reduced by 47%.
Now we're talking.
Revitalive Filler Hyaluronic Acid Serum from Australia's #1 anti-aging skincare brand, L'Oréal Paris.
Well worth it.
Sometimes, even the best tenants can cause damage to your investment property that standard building insurance may not cover. Terry Shear, Australia's leading landlord insurance specialist, provides the cover you need for your property and rental income. Have confidence that your investment property is in safe hands.
My property portfolio is protected by Terry Shear. I wouldn't trust anyone else.
Call Terry Shear or go online.
Gatorade studies the best athletes to create the most advanced range of sports fuel. Gatorade, you fuel us, we fuel you.
Australia's biggest ever Illusion and Ultimate Gaslight Fire and Wood Heater clearance. After lockdown, we're massively overstocked. Millions of dollars of Australian-made heaters must go this weekend. Gas heaters from $19.99. Wood heaters from a crazy $5.99. Main North Road, Enfield.
Your choices make a big difference.
Are you using South Aussie chicken salt like Matani?
And is your supermarket South Australian?
Choose SA brands and produce at Drake's, your SA family-owned supermarket.
Choose SA.
Collect your story of memorable firsts at Pandora.
The new iPhone 12 Pro with 5G is here. Order now on the network with 5G coverage in more places.
After a drizzly end to the week, the city will dry up and heat up by the end of the weekend. But first, let's check how temperatures fared in the city. It reached a top of 19 degrees today. That's 2 below the monthly average. Right now, it is 16. Cloudy across the suburbs today. Windy at Glenelg with a top of 18, but it only felt like 11. After a few drops at Elizabeth overnight, it stayed dry today, a top of 19 degrees. Around the state now, Keyte reached 23, 19 at Whyalla and a cooler top of just 14 degrees at Clare. Further south now, Port Lincoln recorded a top of 17. The Barossa recorded close to 9 millimetres of rain. Very wet but dry for the weekend. Let's check in on the capital cities. Perth climbed to a scorching 36 degrees late today. A cooler 19 degrees at Melbourne, 25 at Sydney, 30 in Brisbane. On the satellite image tonight, low cloud cover over eastern SA is associated with a cold front moving into New South Wales and southern Queensland. A trough over WA is triggering showers and storms. Tomorrow, a high pressure system shifting over the Bight will result in calmer, drier conditions for the state. A trough over the top end will maintain heat and trigger storms over northern WA, the Territory and Queensland. It will be dry statewide with most of the nation's predicted rainfall across eastern New South Wales. Many of the capital cities will have a wet start to the weekend. Possible storms in Brisbane, 31. Sydney and Canberra could see storms too. A shower or two in Melbourne, while a cool change will sweep through Perth, dropping that top temperature to just 25. Back in South Australia now, patches of morning fog about the ranges with moderate to fresh winds. Port Augusta is forecast to reach 22. Partly cloudy skies predicted at Maitland, 20 degrees, warmer in the north. Keyte, sunny and 25 degrees. Further south, cloudy at Mount Gambier, but it is expected to stay dry, 17 degrees. Partly cloudy across the Barossa, 22 at Keyte, 19 at Port Lincoln. There you go. Across the suburbs now, mild and dry, 22 degrees at Elizabeth, 21 at Murray Bridge, a cooler 18 on the forecast for Mount Barker. Again, partly cloudy skies, but it should stay dry right across the city. If you are on the water tomorrow, winds will be southerly, 15 to 20 knots, turning southwesterly by the evening, seas increasing to 2 metres north of Port Vincent to Brighton. Now, time for your forecast. This is what you've all been waiting for, dropping to 12 degrees tonight, a mild 21 degrees tomorrow, cloudy, clearing up by the evening, and take a look at that forecast for the rest of the weekend. 27 on Sunday, beautiful, 31 degrees on Monday, 33 on Tuesday. We could see some showers return by the end of the week.
Returning now to the stories making news in Adelaide this hour. We'll look at all of the fallout from the shock decision to scrap Adelaide's supercars and why it's an ominous sign for other major events. Plus, Nicola Spurrier finally speaks about her role in decisions on whether sick babies should have been taken from the women's and children's to Melbourne. And why this little girl's put the sparkle in Rundle Mall's retail Christmas wish. The hospitality industry wants more funding thrown at major events to cover the hole left by the scrapping of the Adelaide 500. Alan Murrell, why was such a big event axed?
Well, Jen, the government has decided that the cost to taxpayers, and we think that probably would have been more than $20 million next year, simply isn't justified by the returns. There's no doubt it has been a great showcase for the state to replace the Formula One Grand Prix, but in these hard times, it's simply not pulling its weight.
A race that's divided a city. Die-hard revheads.
Oh, it's kicking the guts. Absolutely kicking the guts.
I don't quite understand why we keep losing these things like that.
Versus long-suffering commuters cut off from the city by the annual road closures.
I'm kind of glad because it was a bit of a pain getting around it in the morning with the school drops.
Definitely the traffic reduction for me is better.
But businesses in the East End are those who stand to lose most from the decision to give up ever hosting another Adelaide 500.
People are willing to invest money in order to build infrastructure to support events like this, and to turn our back on them, I feel, is short-sighted at this moment.
While the event used to fill hotels and fuel up fans and teams alike.
You know, it's an iconic event. It's one that's put South Australia on the map.
It's the single biggest race meeting that we have for the year. We always talk about Bathurst, but from an attendee point of view, this is number one.
COVID makes a street circuit unviable. Attendance has dropped off and the cost to taxpayers would have topped $20 million next year. Instead, the money will be spent on a greater number of smaller events.
But that money and additional resources need to be applied so that South Australia can maintain and improve its position relative to everyone else.
And the days of events attracting 100,000 people or more may be over.
They're all under a cloud. They're all under a cloud. And look, I don't think that there are any mass events that are going to continue the way that they have in the past.
That includes the Tour Down Under, Royal Show and Christmas pageant.
And the Tour Down Under could be next. The international teams are deciding whether they can afford to come down to Adelaide for the summer. The government here wants an after as early as next week. Jen?
OK, thank you, Alan. A child sex predator has pleaded guilty to 7 exploitation charges on the last day that a significant sentencing discount is available to him. And he wasn't the only one. Caroline O'Day was at a busy day in court.
Jad Brooker wasn't due back in court until January, but had the matter called on early. Confessing today has secured him the potential for up to a 30% discount on his sentence. Had he waited until Monday, that would have dropped back to 15% when new laws come into effect. The sex predator today confessing to possessing and distributing child exploitation material, some of which involve children under the age of 14. He's facing another 37 charges. Police say the 38-year-old, who's HIV positive, recorded himself saying he wants to infect children with the virus. Brooker wasn't the only one rushing to plead guilty. A special court sitting had to be held for a dozen cases at the 11th hour.
When the legislation was changed, the government could have moved immediately to bring these laws into operation. It is almost like Vicky Chapman of Stephen Marshall have put up a flashing neon sign, come today to get out of jail early.
The government said in a statement the discount for an early guilty plea is not automatic, and it expects the court to consider all factors when determining the level of discount. Brooker is back in court in April.
And police have hinted at disturbing child neglect in a case just laid against a southern suburbs woman. The 51-year-old is charged with criminal neglect and aggravated assault. Specialist detectives conducted an investigation across several months and say they found a girl in the woman's care suffering significant harm. The woman's been released on bail to face court in December. Health bosses have been grilled over the deaths of 4 babies at the Women's and Children's in 4 weeks, dodging questions over why some weren't flown interstate for treatment. And the Chief Public Health Officer's also spoken for the first time about the role she played in the decision not to send the children to Melbourne.
Heart rates rose as the Chief of SA Health hit back at questions.
It's not a soap opera, okay?
Over a lack of cardiac care for our sickest kids.
I think a continued turning over of various opinions because it's good sport is very unhelpful.
But SA Best Connie Benares wasn't about to shy away from the deaths of 4 babies in 4 weeks.
And you should know that from the level of attention that this matter has received.
The health bosses defending the decision to transfer babies to Sydney instead of Melbourne during COVID, but dodged questions over why some weren't flown for potential life-saving surgery at all.
There was evidence given today that there may have been other factors underlying that. So I don't think we're any clearer.
The state's head of public health today spoke on the issue for the first time, washing her hands of the decisions.
There was an increased public health risk, but of course that needs to be weighed with any clinical risk. And so the clinical decision making is still with the clinician.
A final decision on a cardiac surgery unit and heart-lung life support machines for the women's and children's will be made by the board when it meets next week.
This is very serious. A wrong decision here means children will die.
Hannah Ford for 10 News First.
Shocking vision of reckless overtaking on one of the country roads has been shared online. A station wagon is caught on camera crossing double lines on the Adelaide to Manham Road at Palmer. Only seconds later, a truck dangerously overtakes the B-double around a corner. The video has been handed to police. Western Australia is finally reopening. The state's gone 6 months and 19 days without community transmission of COVID-19. And today, Premier Mark McGowan announced it was time to drop the hard border.
Pending latest health advice, effective from 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, November 14, Western Australia's new controlled interstate border will come into effect.
There is still paperwork to do and it will depend on any further outbreaks in other states. Nicola Spurrier has released her rules for trick-or-treaters tomorrow. Little door knockers should still try to keep a social distance. Parents should carry hand sanitizer to use after each house. And those handing out treats are urged to ensure they have the right ones ready to go.
Really important this year to have wrapped up sweets or chocolates because that's being COVID safe.
Professor Spurrier, or Spookier as she's known for the day, all says it's best to stay in your own neighbourhood, knocking only on the doors of people you know. Meantime, Christmas has come early for one Adelaide girl who spent most of this year in isolation due to an incredibly rare medical condition. The 11-year-old was today given a reason to smile, treated to a VIP experience in Rundle Mall.
Some much-needed festive cheer for little Alira Prosser. She suffers from a debilitating condition so rare, only 700 people in the world have it.
Alira is wheelchair bound. She has severe low muscle tone. She has hearing loss and vision impairment. She's also fed through a feeding machine. There's no treatment for her.
Alira's compromised immune system means the family spent more time in lockdown than most, but today a special outing, putting the finishing touches on the Rundle Mall Christmas display.
Good job. You did good. Super special. It's, you know, a distraction from all the COVID, all the health issues. Alira's just focused on all the beauty in the boxes, so we're really lucky to be a part of it today.
With just 8 weeks until Christmas, retailers here in the mall are gearing up for a busy period with plans in place to keep it a COVID-safe shopping experience.
Extra temperature checks, cashless payments, click and collect systems, additional queuing systems out on the mall, and of course we're really lucky to be outside.
And with 95% of outlets open again, it's hoped they'll gain some of the sales lost during lockdown.
We've got some big trading days, Black Friday of course, which is really the kickstart to the Christmas shopping season, and then right through to Boxing Day.
But some Christmas wishes are just a little simpler.
We don't know how many more Christmases we will get with Alira, so each and every one's very special. Our goal this year is to definitely not be in hospital for Christmas. We've done a few of those, so our focus is to keep her healthy and happy.
Tiffany Warren for 10 News First.
Days of anti-French protests across the Islamic world have culminated in the stabbing deaths of 3 people in the French city of Nice. A security guard at the French consulate in Saudi Arabia has also been killed, while a third attack may have been averted by the shooting of a man waving a gun.
A storm of gunfire at Nice's Notre Dame Basilica to stop the killing spree of a knife-wielding terrorist. As he was shot, detained and taken for treatment, the attacker shouted Allah Akbar. The 21-year-old Tunisian man who recently arrived in Europe beheaded and stabbed 3 people, including a church worker. This woman says our church warden was killed. I'm shocked I can still see him lighting the candles. The attack happened just down the road from where 68 people were killed in a terror attack using a truck 4 years ago.
Notre pays a été frappé par
Our country has been hit by an Islamist terror attack. The president adding it is quite clearly France which has been attacked.
Not only are they an attack on the individuals and their families, but they are an attack on liberty.
Tensions between France and Muslim-majority nations are extremely high. A fortnight ago, a teacher was beheaded in Paris after showing his class a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad from Charlie Hebdo. The magazine then published a cartoon of the Turkish president, inflaming tensions, even triggering calls for terror attacks. As the country goes back into COVID lockdown today, the president has ordered the highest state of alert and an extra 4,000 troops to protect schools and churches. Phoebe Roden for 10 News First.
Stephen returns next with sport, including a power shift at Port Adelaide. And the Redbacks struggle again in the Sheffield Shield.
Is Kim Kardashian's birthday gift from beyond the grave cute or creepy? Plus, Tommy's big interview with Busta Rhymes next.
They say it's about the journey, not the destination. At the Mazda Open Road Sale, you'll discover why. Take home Mazda CX-5 Max from $32,990 drive away. Limited time only.
Your choices make a big difference.
Is your salad grower in South Australia like a Rainbow Fresh?
And is your supermarket South Australian?
Choose SA brands and produce at Drake's, your SA family-owned supermarket.
Choose SA.
Well, it's time for wrinkles. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair. We've got the retinol that gives you results in 1 week. Not just any retinol, accelerated retinol SA. 1 week, it's all it takes. Neutrogena.
Get the feeling you're not alone with 25% off spider treatments for your home.
No worries with the team from Murray's.
Farmers have been shocked by infectious disease.
They're not taking my sheep.
From the director of Last Cab to Darwin.
We find those sheep, he is done. You sneaky bastard.
Rams in cinemas now.
Hungry Jack's free limited edition glasses. Get a free Hungry Jack's glass with any large meal. Collect all 5 colours at Hungry Jack's.
Hi, Dad.
What time do you call this?
Some things don't have to change. With as little as $80,000 super, SEBA Super Income Stream works with the pension.
Hi, Dad.
So you'll still have that steady paycheck.
Come on.
Even after you retire.
Fetch ESPN. Fetch BBC First. Fetch Discovery. Fetch Nickelodeon. Fetch over 50 premium channels. All your entertainment. Easy. Fetch.
Cup.
Yep.
Yep.
Cup.
Yeah.
Yup to the cup. Yup to the cup, fantastic. Yup to the cup.
Yup to the cup.
Yup to the cup, fantastic. Yup, 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 yup. Yup, 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 yup. Yup, 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 yup. Yup, 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 yup. Yup to the cup, fantastic.
Protect the moments that matter.
Dettol household grade disinfectant kills germs on floors and household surfaces. Tested effective against COVID-19 virus.
Nurofen Advanced liquid capsules have a thin seam, which enables fast release into the body. To sort pain out fast, use Nurofen Advanced liquid capsules. Unleash the speed of liquid.
It all begins with Amy Victoria Derby Day.
He's charging!
Everybody has a ticket to the Melbourne Cup Carnival, live on 10.
There's a shift of power at Port Adelaide with the club appointing a new chief executive. The first order of business is re-signing coach Ken Hinkley.
Matthew Richardson will replace Keyte Thomas after 9 years in the big chair.
I think arguably the most important appointment that a football club can make is a chief executive.
The challenge for us, as the current custodians at Port Adelaide, is now to create an era of greatness.
One of the first things on the new CEO's to-do list is a contract extension for coach Ken Hinkley, but just don't ask him about it.
Probably not going to add to that. All I would say...
We just come from lunch with Ken and Chris and Tom Jonas, the five of us, and Ken goes, "If you talk about my contract, I'm going to kill you."
Last night at the Best and Fairest, coach Ken Hinkley predicted a bag of flags in the Power's future.
We want to be great and our journey's just started, and this team's going to go a long, long way and it's going to win. More than once. More than once. It's going to win.
Darcy Byrne-Jones caused an upset, taking out the John Cahill medal ahead of Brownlow runner-up Travis Boak. The 25-year-old finished 23 votes clear to cap off an all-Australian season. But he certainly didn't anticipate a trip onto the stage.
I don't really know what to say, to be honest. Probably had a few too many beers and a couple of reds.
The winner surprised to most, except the runner-up.
From internally, I think there's no real surprises there. I think he's had an amazing year from what we've seen and what he's been able to do, but I think he just doesn't get talked about enough outside of the footy club.
Now, Byrne-Jones is happy for people to talk about his new winner's hairdo.
Maybe the blonde bleach through it's the next thing.
Jodie Oddie for 10 News First.
The Crows have been well compensated after Rory Atkins joined Gold Coast today. The Suns have signed the 26-year-old on a long-term deal, and that lands Adelaide a draft selection at the end of the second round, currently pick 36. Atkins only played 4 games this year. Fellow free agent Isaac Smith has left Hawthorn for arch rivals Geelong.
To say I wasn't a Geelong fan is probably a little bit under what I wasn't. Certainly coming up against him. There was a real dislike between the playing groups and the clubs, but the other thing was there was a hell of a lot of respect.
Restricted free agent Zach Williams is set to move from GWS to Carlton, while bomber Joe Danaher is officially a Lion. Essendon receives pick 7 as compensation. Supercars driver Nick Percat has slammed the decision to axe the iconic Adelaide 500. The South Aussie says the race inspired him to become a driver and feels sorry for the next generation of motorsport fans.
It was the moment a childhood dream became a reality.
The Clip's 500 winner of 2016 is Nick Percat.
This is unbelievable. I've watched this since I was in a pram. This is, oh my God.
A local boy who went from watcher to winner of SA's premier race. Few took the axing of the Adelaide 500 to heart more than Nick Percat.
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy to shut down an event that brings so much revenue to the state. And it has been going for decades now, so it's a sad day for motorsport in South Australia.
In addition to cost, the government says a decline in motorsport interest is also to blame. Percat isn't buying it.
Well, 2018, it's pretty recent, they actually had to shut the gates on Sunday because the event, the whole Adelaide Parklands was at capacity. And last year the numbers may have been down, but we also had South Australia included, half the nation was on fire.
Percat and his teammate Todd Hazelwood say watching the race inspired them to become drivers, a chance not afforded to the next generation of rev heads.
It's been an event that's been close to the heart for many years, so for me to now lose this event where I can't go racing in essentially my backyard, it's a big stab in the back.
Josh Money for 10 News First.
Another disappointing day for South Australia in the Shield. The Redbacks were bowled out for 200 on day one against Victoria, with the visitors making a solid start in reply. The hosts won the toss and chose to bat in cloudy conditions. Captain Travis Head hoping to build on his last Shield knock of 170.
Oh, that one beats the edge of the bat and must have got a nick on it too. Travis Head, the captain.
Head gone for just 9. Some big hitting from Wes Agar gave the Redbacks something to bowl to, but they're still well behind heading into day 2. And I will speak to you tomorrow, Jen, from Flemington. Derby Day, looking forward to it.
Have a great day, I'll be watching.
Good.
OK, thank you, Stephen. Jade Coddick's back after the break with the weekend forecast.
This MasterChef masterpiece will decide who goes into finals week. The Snow Globe Challenge, 7:30 Sunday.
My, someone's desperate to impress. You've got your Camembert, Blue, fine chocolates, and all for 29% less by switching to Aldi's exclusive brands. Now all you need is the wit and banter. Oh, never mind. Get the door. Nah, make them wait. Door. Wait. It's Desperate to Impress Day. Just one of 365 days to save at Aldi. Good, different.
I fantasize about this back in Chicago.
With McDelivery, Macca's comes to you. With contact-free options, you can enjoy all your Macca's favourites, delivered to you via the Uber Eats app, Deliveroo and Menulog.
You can't beat Mitre 10 if you want terrific advice and a great deal.
Get this Rockwell line trimmer and blower, only $129, or a 20-litre Rockskill jerry can, just $39.
That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10.
You wash loads, but do you ever wash your washing machine? Every load leaves behind grime and, what's that smell? Pino Clean Washing Machine Cleaner removes 99.9% of germs, leaving it clean and fresh for longer. It's not clean unless it's Pino Clean.
One little thing. What's one little thing going to do? What if that one little thing wasn't a lonely little thing? Instead, that one little thing was just one of lots of one little things that together can make big things happen. Then that one little thing can change the world. IKEA.
As the world's energy needs grow, we'll need multiple sources of power, like wind power. But to do that, we'll need more copper. Like the copper proudly produced by the men and women of BHP. Because it's the 4 tonnes of copper in each and every wind turbine that makes it possible to turn wind power into electric power. Think big.
Why are Nature's Way Adult Vita Gummies hair, skin and nails seriously good? Is it healthy, shiny hair, radiant, beautiful skin, or stronger nails? Seriously? All 3. Your all-in-one beauty Vita Gummy. Seriously.
How long is this price for?
It's a weekly special. Like Aussie New Season Spring Lamb Loin Chops Bulk. Just $19.99 a kilo.
I'm going to need a trolley.
Done. We can dream. Do you have time to apply for a home loan?
It doesn't need to take ages. Apply online and get support any day of the week. It's all here, Ellie.
Amazing.
We've got your back. Yard. See what I did there?
Percocet.
Up next, we catch up with Anthony Scaramucci, the former White House insider fired by Trump and now fired up to kick him out of office. She's the queen of nailing those high notes. Singer Keyte Heidke is here to talk new music. And Tommy tries to keep up with fast-paced rapper Busta Rhymes. The Project next.
Jade's back with the forecast now and some warm weather ahead.
Jen, it's going to be dry and mild in Adelaide tomorrow. Perfect conditions for Derby Day. But first, let's check how the temperatures fared today. The city reached a top of 19 degrees. That is 2 below the monthly average. Right now, it is 16 degrees. On the satellite image tonight, low cloud cover over eastern SA is associated with a cold front moving into New South Wales and Queensland. A trough over WA is also triggering showers and storms just here, but most of the activity is in the southeast tonight. Tomorrow, a high pressure system shifting over the Bight will result in calmer and drier conditions for the state. A trough over the top end will also maintain heat there, triggering storms in northern WA, the Territory and Queensland, but you can see the high there. Now, many of the capital cities will have a wet start to the weekend. Possible storms in Brisbane, Sydney and Canberra, a shower or two in Melbourne, while a cool change will sweep through Perth tonight, a top of just 25 degrees. Back in South Australia, patches of morning fog about the ranges with moderate to fresh winds. Port Augusta has a forecast to reach 22 degrees. Partly cloudy skies predicted at Maitland, 20. Warmer in the north, Coober Pedy, sunny and 25. Further south, cloudy at Mount Gambier, but it is expected to stay dry, a top of 17 degrees. Partly cloudy skies across the Barossa, 22 at Keyte, 19 at Port Lincoln. Closer to the city, mild and dry, 22 at Elizabeth, 21 at Murray Bridge, a cooler 18 on the forecast at Mount Barker. If you're on the water tomorrow, well, winds will be subtly 15 to 20 knots, but here is your forecast for the city, falling to a low of 12 tonight before reaching a top of 21. Very pleasant, cloudy morning and afternoon. Fine by the evening, and take a look at this. This is the forecast for the week ahead. Sunday, a ripper, 27 degrees, warming up to 31 on Monday, 33 for Melbourne Cup. Jen?
Sounds great. Thank you very much, Jade. And that's 10 News First for this evening. I'll have updates throughout the evening, but for now, from the news team, have a lovely evening and a good weekend. Good night.
Tonight,